This is the story of the life and sad ending of the female gender of Miss Cindy Bullens. But before we start, if you enjoy this presentation of why she was never feminine all her life until the end of time, please consider subscribing and give it thumbs up. I appreciate it. Thanks. Cindy Bullens was born Cynthia Bullens in West Newbury, Massachusetts on March 21, 1955. She was an American female backup vocalist turned singer-songwriter. Miss Bullens grew up in Massachusetts. At age 4, her female gender on the outside became worse due to the serious gender dysphoria. So she wanted to be a tomboyish girl without luster, wearing lots of boyish clothing that never matched her pretty, dainty female voice she had in the past. An unadorned woman without color she was. Her lips were bare without lipstick. For her eyes she couldn't use the eyeliner. Her eyes were plain without eyeshadow. Her eyelashes were plain without mascara. Her face was too plain without makeup. Her fingernails and toenails were barren without colored nail polish. She was too afraid to use cosmetics. The female hair products she never used were Adorn, Final Net, Miss Clairol, Miss Breck, Fabergé Organics, Pert, Perel, Agree, Willow Balsam, Body on Tap, Finesse, and Silkience. The cosmetic brands she forgot about were Helena Rubinstein, Maxi, Almay, Maybelline, Chanel, Coty, Lauren, Avon, and CoverGirl. That means her face and body were too miserable to be a nice girl dressed up in a feminine style. She couldn't wear high heels, dresses, skirts, mini skirts, ballerina flats, leggings, or any type of dainty girlish clothing. The problem was she never knew how to dress up feminine like other girls do, simply because she had no girly clothes of her own. So instead of her being ladylike, she wanted to be a drag boy wearing lots of pants, jeans, Superman t-shirts, boyish shoes, masculine shirts, t-shirts and sneakers to conceal her female gender that no one could recognize. Another thing was she would have been more of a straight woman instead of a gay woman. In the beginning, when she was young, she formed a new band called Chemosabi with her friends, Trevor Veitch, Trantham Whitley, Jim Fielder, Thomas Jefferson Kay, and Rick Schlosser. She made her debut as a female background singer on Sunset Hours by Don Everly, Hey Mr. Dreamer by Steve Eaton, No Other by Gene Clark, Discotheques and the Sexolettes Review by Discotheques and the Sexolettes, Atlantic Crossing by Rod Stewart, Hollywood Hot by The 11th Hour, One Day at a Time by Polly Cutter, taken from the family TV sitcom of the same name, Street Talk by the Bob Crew Generation, Motion by Jeff Moldar, Blue Moves by Elton John, Don't Go Breaking My Heart by Elton John and Pauline Matthews, under her stage name, Kiki D, Intoxication by Rory Block, Going Public by Bruce Johnstone, Richie Snyder by Richie Snyder, Jerry Corbetta by the late Jerry Corbetta. On the side, she had a concert tour in the mid-70s as an American girlfriend with British boyfriend as a pop singer-songwriter and musician, Elton John. She met her two friends as backup singers, Ken Gold and John Joyce. Before the concert tour with Elton, she had an invitation to a fancy restaurant with Farrokh Bulsara, under his stage name, Freddie Mercury, the lead singer of the rock band Queen and former tennis player, Billie Jean King. Live in concert at Earl's Court, London, England, she was invited to sing backup with her friends, Ken Gold and John Joyce behind him on piano and lead vocal. While singing backup for other popular artists and groups, she also sang harmony with the Alpha Band on East of East, You Angel You and Love and Romance from their first album, Spark in the Dark, and also on the whole album of the Statue Makers of Hollywood. Plus she sang lead on 3 songs from the movie, Grease, entitled Mooning, duet with Louis St. Louis, It's Raining on Prom Night, and Freddie My Love. From 1978 until 2010 she became a solo artist, releasing her albums such as Desire Wire, Steal the Night, Cindy Bullens, Why Not, Somewhere Between Heaven and Earth, Neverland, Dream Number 29, Cindy Bullens Live, and her final album before the surgery and transition, Howling Trains and Barking Dogs. Before her last album Howling Trains and Barking Dogs, she formed a new folk and country supergirl group called The Refugees, with her girlfriends Deborah Holland and Wendy Waldman, to release their only one album in 2008 before her surgery entitled Unbound. They also had a tour with pop singer Bonnie Raitt. Aside from her albums, she also released her singles, such as Anxious Heart, High School History, Survivor, Steal the Night, Too Close to Home, Trust Me, Fight for Me, Breaking the Chain, Better Than I've Ever Been, and I Gotta Believe in Something. She continued singing backup on No One Makes It Right by Bryan Adams from his album from 1981, You Want It, You Got It, Strings of the Storm by Elliot Murphy, Back to Even by Bill Lloyd, taken from the album of the same name, and the final track Crash and Burn by Katy Lied from their album, Late Arrival. In 1979, she and the brother of songwriter, producer Bob Crew named Dan Crew got together as wife and husband and got married. They raised a family to have 2 daughters, Reed and Jessie. Bullens lost her daughter Jessie due to cancer in 1996. 23 years later Dan and Cindy got divorced. It's a shame she never liked doing woman's work or girl work. The disappointment was she loved a lot of boy work. The upsetting thing was she was mistakenly a man as an incorrect gender in a woman's body instead of a woman in a woman's body. Poor Cindy. She had no time to conquer gender dysphoria in order to survive the woman shortage. The reason why she was never feminine all of her life is because she forever until the death of the female gender of Cindy in late 2011 remained a masculine lady. She couldn't wear pink for breast cancer awareness. She was unable to wear red for heart disease awareness just to get along with other girls to have a bite to eat at the Go Red for Women luncheon. Miss Bullens was never a part of other women in all different human races who hold up half the sky. She was missing out on being part of the women's circle of every woman of color. As for her, being feminine was tough and very difficult. She couldn't afford to join hands with other women and girls and their sisters in the sistership circle. Every single time she wasted not focusing on her women's lifestyle. Early on she realized that she wasn't like other girls. Instead she was like other boys. She wasted every day not writing her own life story as Cindy Bullens. She couldn't talk about her serious disorder of gender dysphoria that affected her and got in the way with her parents and how to win the battle against it. Outside of her face and body had man power while her female voice on the inside had girl power. That's the weirdest, craziest thing of all. The most depressing thing of all was she would have been transformed into a more complete, fully feminine natural woman instead of half a man on the outside and half a woman on the inside. That made her look strange. She would never strive to overcome her female face and body confusion that caused her face and body too much masculinity. She would never find a way to solve the gender problem that affected the outside of her female face and female body. She would never ask herself why or how it affected her well-being and her femininity on the outside, or talk it over with her friends, neighbors and companions about that serious disorder that made her a mess. Although she was brave and daring to show victory, since too much masculinity got her female face and female body in the way due to that serious disorder. A complete, fully feminine woman of faith or a woman of grace she would never prove to be. Since she was living too much in a man's world that didn't match her feminine ladylike voice rather than a woman's world, she would never learn the importance of being feminine as a natural lady. She was unable to join in the women's circle for supernatural healing powers or ask God for a miracle anytime she suffered from gender dysphoria. She would never fight to survive that serious disorder. She would never struggle to overcome it to be a pretty lady as America's beauty. Her face and body on the outside were too masculine to be a Wonder Woman. The bad news was she would never be part of every woman of destiny. She missed out on being inducted in the National Women's Hall of Fame. Go Red for Women from American Heart Association missed her. Women's History Month missed her. Bake for the Cure campaign from Susan G. Komen for the Cure missed her. It was very sad to know that she missed out on women's magazines, such as Vogue, Mademoiselle, Cosmopolitan, McCall's, Ladies' Home Journal, New Woman, Glamour, Redbook, Women's Circle, Ladies' Circle, Woman's Own, Woman's World, The Joyful Woman, Woman and Home, Good Housekeeping, Family Circle, and Woman's Day. Since her face and human body were in disorderly fashion due to the woman shortage, she would never struggle or fight to survive the frustrating female years just to take part of women in culture. Instead of her getting a proper female makeover in order to get her transformed into a more fully feminine natural woman, in late 2011, the female gender of Ms. Cindy Bullens all the whole world loved died from the surgery and transition when emerged a new guy born with a new male gender breaking out of the tomboyish female mold, named Sydney Bullens nobody should pay attention to. If you are interested in her material from the 1970s to the 2010s, why she was a man in a woman's body due to gender dysphoria as a bad mistake, why she was never feminine all her life and why she couldn't survive the gender dysphoria that happened to her, log on to Cindy Bullens for a Cause of Women at Cindy Bullens for a Cause of Women. Site123.me.
It's the most devastating thing, and I just cried and kind of walked around in a daze for months. And still do on certain days. But I found myself picking up my guitar one day just to kind of hear the music from the guitar, from the instrument.
Did you write everything on that album?
Yes, and I co-wrote the next song that we're going to do with Mark Doyle.